Hey everybody, welcome to Degrees and Minutes. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about what they are as far as what is a degree, what is a minute, how to convert to decimal and back, as well as how to add and subtract these things. So let's go. So let's start off with a definition. So what is a degree? A degree is just the measurement that came out of taking 1/360th of a circle, and it's denoted as 1 degree with the little circle. Now, what if that unit of measurement isn't accurate or isn't fine enough, right? We need something smaller than that, hence the minute. So the minute is 1/60th of a degree. So you have a degree and a minute is smaller than that. And then if you want to get even finer, we have seconds. And now a second is a 60th of a minute, okay? Denoted with 1 and the 2 marks. Okay, so minute is 1 mark, seconds is 2 marks. So you can see the notation here, and you can see how it's read. So this would be 52 degrees, 10 minutes, 5 degrees, 27 minutes, 30 seconds now, 13 degrees, 24 minutes, see the single dash, and then 75 seconds with the double dash. So let's see how to add and subtract these things, right? So we're not in base 10, so this isn't exactly the same as adding or subtracting like if we were doing decimals. There's a little bit of accounting we need to do because we're dealing with base 60. And it's exactly the same way you would deal with adding up hours and minutes with each other. So that's really nice, as they kind of act exactly the same. So you see what I mean by that here? So we're going to add 37 degrees, 47 minutes with 42 degrees, 32 minutes. So we can still do our beloved column adding. So I'm just going to add them up here. So 5 plus 2 is 7, 4 plus 3 is also 7, 7 plus 2 is 9, 3 plus 4 is 7. And if any of these numbers happen to be a number over than 10, like if that added together to be 19 or something, you would still carry the 1. So all of those rules still apply. The only thing we need to look out for is, look at this in this case here, right? We can't really have 79 degrees and 77 minutes, right? Because a minute is only in terms of 60. Once we have 60 minutes, our degree bumps up 1. So this is greater than 60. So what we're going to do is we're going to bump the degrees up by 1, and then we're going to write the remainder. So we're going to bump the degrees up to 80. And now after we do that, now we've taken 60 minutes over here, so how many minutes are left over? Well, 17. So this will end up being 80 degrees, 17 minutes. So because I took out 60 to bump my degrees up, and then what was left over was 17 minutes. You always want to make sure that your minutes or your seconds are a number less than or equal to 60. All right, let's do some subtraction over here. So now I'm going to do a little trick, right? So this is 90 degrees minus 35 degrees, 46 minutes. Okay, and you're thinking, well, how can I do that? I don't have any minutes over here. Well, it's kind of the same thing you're doing when you're subtracting decimals. So I'm going to transform 90 degrees and I'm going to rewrite it into 89 degrees, but with 60 minutes, right? If I had 60 minutes, that degree would bump up 1. So these are equivalent, but I'm going to use this instead to do the subtraction. So 89, 60 minus 35, 46. And now subtraction is done the exact same with the borrowing and all that. So can't do that. So 5, 1. So 10 minus 6 is 4, 5 minus 4 is 1, 9 minus 5 is 4, and 8 minus 3 is 5. So we have 54 degrees and 14 minutes as our answer here. So again, all we did was we just transformed 90 into terms of 89, 60. Okay, so this is kind of the trick right here when you're doing subtraction. So keep this in mind, right? Again, it's a little different than decimals because of this base 60. So now speaking of decimals, so now let's talk about like, okay, well, the minutes and degrees are great, but I really want to approximate my stuff in terms of decimals because decimals are what I know, and I know that these show up a lot. Okay, great. Well, you can. So decimals are just another way to more accurately describe the approximation of an angle, right? We can talk about it in terms of degrees and minutes and seconds, or we can talk about it in terms of decimals, right? Like I can say 59.67824 degrees, and that's still a valid way, okay? So we need to learn how to go between degrees and minutes to decimals. And all you need to do, because we're dealing with base 60 with the degrees and minutes, you just multiply or divide by 60. So let's say we wanted to convert 35 degrees 46 minutes to decimal. If you're converting to decimal, you divide, so the D's. If you're converting to decimal, you divide. And this is what I mean by that. You take your 35 and 46 minutes, and you multiply it by 1 over 60. Multiplying by a fraction, that is what dividing is, so that's why I'm saying divide. So first off, notice I've split the degrees in minutes in terms of like, hey, it's this many degrees plus this many minutes, and that's how we say it, right? We can join it together. So what does this come out to be? So 46 times 1 over 60, or 46 divided by 60. This is going to be 35.7, and now it's 6666666 forever. And I'll just round it off that way. So again, the key when you're converting to decimal, you divide. And here is the kind of highlight step right here. Okay, so now what about going the other way? Well, you guessed it. Well, if we divided here, we're going to multiply here. So the D and M work out. Now, if I'm converting to minutes, I multiply. Multiply. I can spell. So when you're converting to minutes, you multiply. So convert to minutes, multiply, convert to decimal, divide. D and D go together, M and M go together. That's what's really nice. So I take my 43, and I'm going to say, in this case, plus 0.25, which is true, right? 43.25 is, I'm adding 43 and I'm adding 0.25 together, and that adds to that. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split it. I'm going to take the decimal component, and now I'm going to multiply it by 60. Let me just highlight again this multiplying by 60 right here. This is the step. And then when I do that, I'll get 43 degrees. 0.25 times 60, that'll give me 15. And now I've converted to 43 degrees, 15 minutes. So 43.25 degrees is equivalent to 43 degrees, 15 minutes. Converting to minutes, multiply. Converting to decimal, divide. D's and D's, M's and M's. So, as always, if you guys have any questions, please, 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 please don't hesitate to ask. I hope that was informative. I hope you learned something today about degrees and minutes, and I'll see you guys next time.